Joining me today is Nate Schultz from Innovative Surfaces. Nate will share some insight from a real production shop related to his experiences and journey on maintaining his equipment in his fabrication shop. Angela McLean is part of our product management group, and Angela will be talking to us about a product called Park IQ. Nate Lummel is joining us from our customer service group, and Joe Ziegler is joining us from our parts department as well. So before we begin, we ask that you keep your microphone muted. If you have questions, you can submit them through the Q&A button. And a recording of this presentation will be available and sent to you following the presentation. And we ask you to please complete the survey upon completion of the webinar. So again, welcome. Again, one more apology for our technical difficulties, and we'll get started. So our agenda today is to talk about what maintenance is all about. And we'll first cover what Maintenance Buzz is all about. We'll talk about what a maintenance-minded culture looks like. We'll talk a little bit about your culture and ask you to evaluate your culture within your company related to maintenance. We'll talk about where do we start and what are the steps to create a maintenance-minded culture. We'll talk a little bit about the cost associated with maintenance and a return on investment if you have a culture-based maintenance approach. And then we'll give you a number of different options on how Park Industries can assist you in your maintenance journey. Training, Park IQ, and a product that Park calls ProGuard. So starting at the top, I thought it would be good to talk about the definition of maintenance. So Webster describes maintenance as the act of keeping property, equipment in good condition by making repairs and correcting problems. We have maintenance everywhere in our lives. Our homes require maintenance. We have to paint them periodically. If we break a window, we need to replace them. Our vehicles, the engines need oil replaced. They need to be greased and lubricated. You have to wash them from time to time. And even our relationships require maintenance. If my daughter calls me several times and I don't return a call, it works against our relationship, and I need to mend that relationship. So maintenance is everywhere. Today, we're going to be talking to you about a proactive approach to maintenance. But what we see at Park is a majority of our customers, or a lot of customers, are living in a reactive maintenance world. Park receives hundreds of calls from customers on a weekly basis, and it's a frantic kind of call because their machine is broke down and not working. So they're wanting to get the equipment up and running as quickly as possible, even at the expense of expediting and shipping parts overnight if that's required. The other thing, and so our webinar is going to be talking about a more proactive approach where you don't find yourself in a down machine situation. The other thing I'd like to point out is our environment of processing stone and stone-like materials is a very wet, abrasive environment. If ever there was an environment that requires maintenance and the desire to do maintenance, our environment begs for maintenance to be done. Stone grit and water gets everywhere and has raised havoc on mechanical components. So our environment is a key environment to have a good maintenance program in place. So let's talk about a maintenance-minded culture. What are the steps? First of all, it starts at the top. The owners and the managers of your company need to understand the maintenance and promote maintenance within your business. It's often viewed that maintenance is an expense to the company, but actually, if you're managing maintenance in a proactive way, it's a profitable business decision to stay on top of maintenance, basically because you keep your machines running and you don't have any unplanned downtime. Planning maintenance in your normal workday, just like running jobs, a maintenance-minded culture allows for maintenance during the day to keep up with the maintenance that's required on your equipment and keep them running in top condition. Stocking parts is an important part of a maintenance program as well. Park Industries recently has been assisting customers understanding the cost of parts or the cost of ownership of their machines. And we have discovered that in a maintenance situation, that especially in a reactive maintenance situation, the cost of expediting parts, the actual shipping cost, oftentimes equals the actual cost of the part. So when a customer frantically calls in because their machine is broke and they need a simple part to get the machine running, typically we're finding out that the expediting charges is very close to the cost of the part. So in a reactive situation, you're spending a lot of money expediting parts one at a time. The next step in developing a maintenance-minded culture is actually developing a maintenance plan. Understanding how to properly maintain your machines and monitoring that activity with checklists and metrics along the way is an important part of a maintenance culture. Having a trained maintenance person is critical to maintaining a maintenance-minded culture and training that person properly. Evaluating maintenance as a priority, just like processing jobs in your shop. Having maintenance as a priority is very important. And then measuring your performance and tracking your maintenance programs as you go. The old saying is, what gets measured gets done, certainly applies to maintenance. Tracking maintenance to be sure that it is being performed on a regular basis is a key to a maintenance-minded culture. So I'd like to take a minute to ask you to think about your organization and what your approach to maintenance is. How many hours has your machine been down in the last 3, 6, or 12 months? Having machines down costs a lot of money, and we'll talk about that here shortly. And what does that cost you? Expedited freight expenses, overtime to catch up on that lost production, missed shipment dates, or unhappy customers. Ultimately, what is the cost of that downtime? We have worked with a bunch of customers, and using their feedback, they have come up with an hourly rate of $1,500 for every hour that their machine or that causes their plant to be down. They believe it's costing them $1,500 an hour. So if you use that rate and you try to justify a maintenance person, if you're hiring a maintenance person half-time at $20 an hour and you throw benefits in on that, you're probably paying about $26,000 for that maintenance person. And as you can see below, 2 days of downtime at 1,500 hours or 16 hours of downtime on a machine per year would basically pay for that part-time maintenance person. Or if you want to go the full step and go to a full-time maintenance person, you will be paying that person roughly about $52,000 a year. And that equates to 4 days or 24 hours of downtime per year at $1,500. So the point we're trying to make here is that downtime for your company is very expensive. And when you invest in a full-time maintenance person or a part-time maintenance person, and you keep up with your maintenance on a regular basis, it is a very profitable business decision. I'd like to give you an example also about the importance of stocking parts on hand. And I'm using the example of a diamond orifice for a water jet machine. A typical diamond orifice costs about $25. And if you just order it normally and put it in your stock, it would cost you about $25 for shipping. And typically it takes about 20 minutes to replace a diamond orifice in a water jet machine. So those 20 minutes at $1,500 is $500. So the overall cost of a proactive approach to a diamond orifice replacement, having the part on hand, is $950. A reactive approach is much more expensive. Your shipping costs will go up because you're going to be overnight freighting it to your facility. And you could incur up to 7 hours of downtime waiting for that $425 part to arrive. That total cost of a reactive approach would be $11,500. So as you can see, having a part on hand and quickly being able to get your machine back into operation is about $10,000 cheaper than if you're going to have your machine down waiting for a day to get that part in stock. So keeping critical parts on hand is an important part of a maintenance-minded culture. So where do you start? It starts at the top, and it starts with building maintenance into your business plan. Your top leaders need to understand and believe that maintenance is an important part of doing business. Then those leaders need to push it down to everybody in your organization and get them on board making maintenance a priority. Developing a maintenance plan is the third step, developing schedules and checklists. And the manufacturers or the suppliers of your equipment have all of that information available to you as to how to properly maintain and keep your machines running in top performance. The next step is designating a maintenance person and getting that person trained to effectively be able to maintain the machines and perform the maintenance on your machines. And the last step is stocking parts. So again, the steps of creating a maintenance-minded culture is, number one, build it into your business plan. Educate everybody in your facility that maintenance is an important part to business success. Developing a maintenance plan, designing or designating a person to do the maintenance within your organization, and stocking the appropriate parts to quickly be able to repair your machine and minimize the amount of downtime on your machine. I'd like to introduce Nate Schultz. Nate is from Innovative Surfaces here in Minnesota. And I'd like Nate to share some of his experiences and some of his experiences that he has seen at Innovative Surfaces while managing their stone shop. Nate?
Thanks, Jerry. Yeah, I'm Nate Schultz, Operations Manager at Innovative Surfaces. I've been in the stone industry for about 20 years. Our facility currently has 2 Fusions, a Pro Edge, a Yukon, a Fastback 2, 3 Titan 2800s, and a Wizard. When we purchased the equipment, my goal was to keep production running as fast as possible and keep the machine up and running as often as possible, focusing on just the production. Challenges we ran into is after pushing the machines for so long, something was going to fail. And I was not at a point where we had started to do any type of pre-planning. Maintenance would get kicked to the side and focus on production. I spent many hours working with Park technicians up there. And yeah, I think it was frustrating for both them and myself with the number of phone calls that I had made. After dealing with that and getting pointed in more of a correct direction with some maintenance on the machines and the importance of it, we started moving in the right direction. I sent staff up to advanced maintenance clinics, which in turn gave them the training they needed. Park was able to send us down through the maintenance program they had, which was called the health check, and kind of got a baseline for our equipment. At that point, we were more successful because we knew what was going to happen at some point, and we could schedule around it. We could purchase the parts ahead of time, put the repairs on our schedule so it didn't impact production, and things began to run more smoothly. We also were able to move forward with hiring a person as a full-time maintenance individual. And I made the decision when we put a person in that role that he came from operating the CNCs and the Fusion, which gave us the in-depth knowledge we needed. And he knew what the repercussions were of not maintaining machines properly. So I think that has been our biggest success and movement in the right direction with being able to plan for repairs. Obviously stuff happens and things come up out of nowhere, but to eliminate probably 75 to 90% of the breakdowns we have and get them scheduled, it has definitely made us more successful in the shop. And if I'd have done anything different, I would have started this process a lot sooner.
Thanks, Nate. We appreciate that feedback. The next step that I want to talk you through is how to get personnel trained on performing maintenance on your equipment. Number one is you need to master your machine, understand machine maintenance requirements, and that's available from the suppliers and manufacturers of your equipment. And the next step is to invest in your associates and get them trained on how to properly perform maintenance. Park has a number of training options available to you. Directly training is one of them. You can either come to Park Industries and get trained. You can get training online through Park Industries, or we can send a technician to your site to train your maintenance people on how to perform maintenance on site. We also offer advanced maintenance clinics where monthly Park offers these maintenance clinics at Park Industries. Right now, we're in a little hold on that because of COVID, but you can go to parkindustries.com website under advanced maintenance clinics and see our maintenance clinic offering, and also sign up for maintenance clinics that are planned in the future. We also have a wealth of information on our website, online services and training guides. If you search parkindustries.com/guides, there is a search box. You can enter the type of machine that you have, and you will have access to all kinds of videos and documents on how to perform most maintenance functions and replacement of parts on Park equipment. We are updating this website weekly with new information, so it is a very good resource if you want to learn more or to provide maintenance for, say, you're replacing a part for the first time. It's a very good resource to go and see how that's being done. Another opportunity that Park offers its customers is a new product that we are just soon going to be introducing called Park IQ. And Angela McLean from our product development, our product management group is leading that development of Park IQ. And I'd like Angela to spend a few minutes with us explaining what Park IQ is all about. Angela?
Thanks, Jerry. So I'm really excited to be here today to give you a sneak peek into Park IQ. This is really the first public forum where we're talking about this. And Park IQ is software we've been developing. I think of it almost as a companion to your machines. And it's meant to help with shop operations, including maintenance, which we'll talk about, but it's software that's on the web. So you can access it anywhere you have an internet connection. But really that takes machine data and information and provides a consolidated view of that, as well as maintenance activities. So while the slide highlights some of those, I do want to talk today briefly about, I'll say, 5 key areas of benefit where I think Park IQ can help you in your shop operations and maintenance management. So the first one I'd like to talk about is quick visibility to see if you're on track for the day. So right when you log into Park IQ on the home page is what we call a dashboard, and that'll have different metrics: productivity metrics, efficiency metrics, and maintenance metrics. And that'll allow you to, at a quick glance, say, am I on track, or is there something I need to pay attention to? One of those is a little snippet on the slide is called machine status. And that's real-time information on what is happening with your machines. So you can see green is in cycle, they're running. Paused, are they idle? Is there an alarm, or are they off? And so that's just one way you can see what's going on that shop floor without actually walking the floor or going to each machine. And another benefit of that is ensuring your production expectations are met. And so with these metrics, you'll be able to set goals for your shop in terms of what do you expect for each of these metrics to measure, as Jerry talked about earlier, that you can only track and improve what you measure. And if you're just starting out, we will actually have some default metrics that we've learned from working with customers over the years until you get, I'll say, more comfortable measuring and tracking things, and then you can update those to what your shop uses. And both of those are really focused on kind of here and now, you know, how am I doing today at this moment, maybe looking ahead at the week for my metrics, how am I tracking to those? But we also want to give you a view of how am I doing over time. So you'll have what we call trend reports and historical data. So you can see, for example, the past month, what does my uptime look like? Is it even and where I expect it to be with my goal, or is it going up and down? Is there something I need to address and improve so I can remain productive? And kind of wrapped all around that is staying informed. And so I talked a minute ago about how you have 24/7 access anywhere you have the internet, but Park IQ will also be mobile and tablet friendly. And even though I don't necessarily want to interrupt your lunch hour. Let's just say you start a job and you go to lunch and something happens. You could set up email or text alerts so you get notification that, hey, the machine stopped for whatever reason. And so you know quickly that something's going on there, even when you're not there. And that all relates to productivity, efficiency, which is a balance. You need to balance that output with how well you're doing it. And one of the main critical factors there is keeping your machines running, which really leads into the maintenance management part of Park IQ. So Park IQ will have a focus on maintenance, and within that, you can receive proactive notifications of upcoming maintenance needs. So say filter needs to be changed in 7 days, you'll get that notification in advance. So again, I know Jerry talked earlier about the importance of planning and being proactive. Also related to that is a schedule. So you can see a little snippet of that here as well. You can schedule your maintenance when it makes sense for you. However, let's say you scheduled it on a certain date and it's kind of hard to see, but if you look on the 5th, there's a little red dot there. That means something's overdue. Maybe you had a big job that day and you didn't get to the maintenance. Park IQ won't let you forget about that maintenance per se. It'll tell you that it's overdue, so you make sure you can get it done when it works for you, or you could reschedule it on a day that works for you. In terms of those maintenance, there'll be estimated time to complete that, which again is based on just feedback from customers over time, but you'll be allowed to configure that in terms of what makes sense for your shop. Also add some notes if there's a certain step that you want them to take in a particular maintenance task, you can add that in. And there will be direct links. Jerry talked about some of the resources on the website. There'll be direct links to those resources, guides, etc. as well. So that's just a brief introduction to Park IQ, how it'll help with shop operations and in particular maintenance management, planning, and being proactive. So again, this product's coming soon. There'll be future communications, I know, coming out, and you can always check on our website as well for the future availability.
Thank you, Angela, for that overview of Park IQ. Next, we would like to talk a little bit about ops maintenance, which is available and on most of your machines today. And I'm going to introduce Nate Lovell. Nate is in charge of our customer service group, and Nate will explain to us ops maintenance and how that plays into your overall maintenance plan. Nate?
Thank you, Jerry. So like Jerry mentioned, I'm going to talk a little bit about ops, kind of explain what it is. Ultimately, this ties into what Angela was talking about with Park IQ. This is kind of the foundation that will feed into the reporting software as far as those maintenance tasks and allow you to do some scheduling beyond what's offered today. So the ops maintenance has been a feature on our machine for several years now. What it is a reminder or notification to operators or maintenance personnel as far as when tasks are due. And some of those tasks are based off of machine runtime or calendar time. Ultimately, you can see kind of some screenshots here is you'll get a large red box saying, hey, there's different levels that are required at this time in operation. As you get into those tasks, it'll kind of detail as far as what is specifically required with that task, even a link into the operator's manual as far as how to perform that task. So it's very easy, very intuitive for the operator / maintenance personnel to get to those tasks in a quick manner. Along with the instructions, once the task is completed, the personnel doing the task or the maintenance items has the opportunity to acknowledge that, signing off, saying they've done them. What it does is it creates a log for when those tasks were performed, what tasks were performed, and kind of a date to timestamp. So you have a kind of a maintenance history to go back to and look at in terms of keeping up with your machine and keeping up with the maintenance items on it.
Okay, thank you, Nate, for that overview of ops maintenance. Next, what we'd like to do is give you an introduction to Park Industries ProGuard solutions, and these are areas that Park Industries can help you with if you find that you don't have a maintenance person on site or the ability to perform maintenance, Park has some services that can help you in that area. And I'd like to introduce Joe Ziegler. Joe is our parts manager at Park Industries, and he will explain ProGuard solutions and walk us through what's available to you through ProGuard.
Well, thank you, Jerry. So ProGuard Solutions is kind of a new umbrella thing here at Park. It's everything Park customer care. It's some new programs, as Jerry's mentioned. It's also some of what you know about Park, customer service, parts, training programs, field service. So it's a little bit of the old and some of the new. Some of the new items would be around maintenance programs. The maintenance programs, you've heard people mention the health check. The health check is a new program Park offers that helps you get your machine back to kind of factory square one spec. It gets it checked out. So a health check is a once per year program. It's a multi-point machine maintenance and adjustment, mechanical and electrical inspection. We provide a report. That report might have things in it like, we see X part is starting to wear out. You may want to plan in the next couple months for some downtime to replace this. It's a big job, so you might need 1 or 2 days. It'll help you start to develop that log of how that machine is performing. It's also an opportunity for our factory certified technicians to train your maintenance people. Help them get better at maintaining your machines. In addition, we document the service history. The next level up from that would be the ProGuard standard. And that's 2 trips per year. So every 6 months, we schedule a visit to your facility to do everything that's in the health check. In addition, we also will update all machine control software if there's updates available. And with our technician comes a maintenance part kit. In that kit would be the basic lubricants, filters, desiccant for the air dryer on the air system, things like that you would do just for that basic maintenance. So that kit's available whether you buy ProGuard standard or if you have a maintenance person that can perform that. It gets you everything you need. Like I said, the rags, the filters, so on and so forth. And then our last tier is the ProGuard Plus. That's 4 trips a year. It's basically all the same things as ProGuard standard. It's just on a quarterly basis. You might ask yourself, which one would I need? Well, us here at Park would be happy to help you figure out what it is. I mean, if you lack the ability or lack the time or the resources internally to do some of this maintenance, maybe the 4-trip version is the one that fits you best. If you're a super high production shop and you run the machines 3 shifts a day, 6-7 days a week, you might have a great maintenance staff, but you need to supplement that possibly with the 4-trip. It's kind of an a la carte system, and we have folks here at Park that would be glad to help work through and figure out what one fits for you. In addition to the maintenance programs, parts is also another part of ProGuard. Unplanned downtime, having the right parts at the right time. Jerry has showed a wonderful example of what waiting, even if it's just late in the afternoon, something fails and you have to wait for your shipper to get there the next morning. That does cost you time. It costs you money. Too often, next day, no pay that Park offers isn't fast enough. If we're truly, losing $1,500 an hour for every hour of downtime on that machine, waiting overnight is costly. So we've developed some parts kits. We'll start at the bottom. Maintenance parts kits, we kind of talked about them. Them kits come with the ProGuard maintenance. They're also available for purchase from anybody. If you have the ability to do that maintenance yourself, it's simple, it's easy. You enter 1 part number and here comes the kit to do that basic maintenance. Again, it's filters, lubricants, desiccant, everything you would need to do that basic maintenance. Another kit we've developed is the consumable parts kits. Back to the automobile analogy, in the consumable part kit would be something like gas, washer fluid, brakes, tires, then things that they don't wear out because they're breaking, they wear out because you're using it, you're consuming that part. So an example of that would be, poppet seals for a water jet, a diamond orifice parts, tool clips on a router, things like that. What we did is we took and developed that basic parts kit that should be a good starting point for everybody to be able to have them parts locally and not have to pay next day air shipments. If you have one on the shelf, you use that part, you can order the replacement part via UPS Ground and can save yourself quite a bit of money. As you start to implement having that, you may find that you want to beef up that kit, and we're happy. We'll help you find what you would need in addition to them basic parts. And then lastly, we have a spare parts kit. This kit is developed in conjunction with our engineers, our customer support people, and kind of honestly the history of parts that have won out for certain machines. What we did is we took the most high likely parts that you would need. You know, we would ask customer service, if a customer calls in with a machine down, what parts, you know, would we need out of these likely parts to be able to get them back up and running? We probably didn't include parts that you could work around for a day. We included mostly parts that are, if this part breaks and it's, you know, eventually going to break over time, it would cause your machine to not function. An example of that would be power cables, encoder cables, sensor cables. Many times these cables are the same cable, just of varying lengths on different parts of the machine. What we tried to do is put the long cable in, knowing that if the short one failed, we could coil up the excess, put it on, get running, order the shorter one, replace it at a later date, but you know, save many hours of downtime. So they're a pretty well thought out kit, something we're more than happy to help you figure out what you need. They're available for all of our, you know, common machines, readily available machines, and back a few generations of the older machines. That's about all I have, so I'll turn it back to Jerry. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Joe, for that overview of Park Industries ProGuard services. Again, the services are available to everybody that's listening on Park Industries equipment, and you can either contact your sales representative or visit us on parkindustries.com to learn more, or to get yourself in a position to purchase some of the parts kits maybe that Joe is speaking to. That kind of concludes our webinar, but I would just like to give Nate one more shot at talking to us from Innovative Surfaces about what recommendations he would have for people if they are not in a proactive maintenance culture. What advice would you have for those owners, Nate?
Thanks, Jerry. There's a couple of key factors or things that have helped us out with doing this maintenance-minded culture. One is our employees. You know, when machines break down and these things popping up unplanned, the employees end up needing to work overtime or additional shifts over the weekend, which creates a lot of frustration on their end. And if you don't have happy employees, productivity goes down. So by having that the maintenance program implemented, we're able to maintain kind of employee morale. So that's been huge. The second thing that's been extremely helpful for us is customers they're assured that when we give them a date, we should have the highest probability of hitting those dates because they know we're taking care of equipment. So they're confident in the steps that we're doing to be on the preventative side rather than on the reactionary side, which has been huge. And then from a business owner side, I know our owners are extremely pleased with the fact that this is all added to cost savings. The reduction of downtime, the ability to budget and plan, generating a less chaotic schedule has allowed us to increase productivity. And whenever you can produce more countertops, the company's making more money. And that flexibility has really led to us being as successful as we've been to date.
Very good, Nate, and I appreciate you spending time with us on this webinar today. So thank you to everybody that stuck with us through this webinar, even through our technical difficulties. We would appreciate it if you would complete our survey. You can go to parkindustries.com/events for upcoming webinars. And we truly wish you success in establishing your maintenance culture. Should you need assistance on any of the programs or services that we have discussed in this webinar, please reach out to us. And you can contact us at 800-328-2309 or info@parkindustries.com. Have a great day.